go live, and then let's see if it gets. Okay, we're on. If you guys jump on, say hey, let us know that you're here and can hear us. So we are talking today about how to find clients as a virtual assistant. And we have two amazing VAs from our program who've done an amazing job going out and just like making it happen for themselves. So I thought, you know, who better to ask these questions to than April and Heather. So we have a handful of questions we're going to go over, but we're basically just going to have a conversation about how it works. And, you know, April and Heather, this was a new world to them, and they kind of had to discover everything along the way, just like anybody else does when they first get started, but they did it and they did an amazing job. So I'm really excited to have them share like their experience with you and the tips that they might have. So first, let's just jump in, and April and Heather, if you'll tell us about yourself, just how many clients do you each of you have currently? When did you start your VA journey, and what type of tasks do you do for those clients? So I will hand it to Heather since she's on my top left, and then April, you can jump in after her.
Hey everyone, I'm Heather, and I am wife and mom of 2 kids still at home, and I currently have 3 clients, and I've been doing this for, well, since May I started this journey. I'm doing a variety of tasks, things I never thought I would be doing. I'm setting up email campaigns and creating websites and just a variety of different administrative tasks for my clients. So. That's
okay, I'll go. I'll go next. My name's April. I signed up for the program at the very end of July, so technically I probably didn't really start anything until August. And I got my first client within, I think, a week of signing up for the program. And I really think it was just a chance thing at that time. Thank God, because I have learned a lot with that first client. She was new to a VA, and so was I. So that's really nice if you can get that, because then you just kind of learn with each other as you go. But I am a mom of 3 girls and a wife, and I just wanted to work at home basically. And so far it's been amazing. I actually have 3 clients, and I just spoke to one today, so fingers crossed that I have 4 now. Yeah, so I also do a variety of tasks. My main client, I do a lot of just data entry, reports, and just kind of some random things here and there. I am basically the VA for an operations manager, so she just kind of throws things at me when she's running out of time, or to help give her more time in her day. Yeah. But she is also a part of this program, so I got that client through another VA in this program. But my first client I got through LinkedIn. It was just, you know, I was following what Laptops and Littles told me to do, to just interact on random posts, and she happened to see that I was a VA and I was from Indiana, and she wanted to support local, and she's from Indianapolis, so that was my second client. And then the third client I have was basically a word of mouth through my first client. So I just technically am not on retainer with her. I'm more of, she throws projects at me. So I just kind of do projects for her as she needs it. She has like a coaching business. So I do, I'm trying to be specific, maybe that's helpful if I'm specific with things that I do. So she has a coaching program, so I will update her website. Sometimes I'll do social media posts for her. One time I did a Loom video and did an email blast to everyone on her list with my face, like, oh, come join this program. That was the most uncomfortable thing I've done so far.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that was great. So I've done that. My fingers crossed newest client will be, he's an older gentleman who owns a car detailing business in Indianapolis, but his clientele is high end, like doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. So he's retired and this is his kind of hobby that he's doing. And he, of course, he's an older generation and he knows nothing about social media. So I'm going to be doing social media for them. So I'm kind of all over the place with a little bit of everything. I don't have a niche or niche or whatever. I was really hung up on that at the beginning. Asked Ariel, I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
Yep.
I don't think it matters. I think you just have to be willing to do whatever. And I kind of like it. I like the variety. I like learning different things. Let's see what
it makes every day interesting for sure whenever you're doing different stuff all the time. And I love that you said like you have a client where you do data entry and like random tasks that they send, because I always like to call those like those are like my sprinkles throughout the day. So it's like when I'm working on bigger projects that take longer, like that's kind of nice to like take a brain break and just like schedule a call or do like some data entry or whatever. And you can do it like while your kids are being crazy and it's not like stressing you out. Or I'll do it in like the school pickup line. So I love that you said that, because it's nice to have those clients on your roster. So that's very cool. So you kind of covered where you got your clients on LinkedIn, through referrals, networking. How are some other ways that you found clients? Heather, you can jump in and share. I don't think you shared much of that. So if you want to tell us like where you found your clients, I feel like that's the big question. Like how, like, okay, I've set all this up. I've decided I'm gonna start my VA, career, and I've done all the things that's on the to-do list. And then people are like, but then how do I actually implement it? How do I go be a VA and actually find a client? So let's cover that a little bit deeper.
Sure. My first client was actually a direct intro from Laptops and Littles. And then it turned out that her husband actually had a business as well. And so I kind of got his VA position as well. So that was really cool. So, and that happens a lot. I think your clients will, share your name, and therefore, their clients they're looking to. And so that's happened quite a few times. Also just like getting out into the different Facebook groups, the entrepreneur groups, and, women supporting women and moms supporting moms. And I think just creating genuine conversations with people and just getting to know people and just putting yourself out there. That's really where I've gotten most of my, and family and friends, just telling them what you're doing. And then all of a sudden you've got, hey, this lady said that, she needed this, so I name dropped you, and, that sort of thing. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So yeah, that stuff happens a lot. So, and that's really where I get most of mine.
I love that. That's awesome.
So like I mentioned, my very first client I got from LinkedIn, and then my second one was a direct intro from another VA from Laptops and Littles. And then I've had the client, who was more of a word of mouth, but this most recent one, well, let me rewind. So I really tried to be pretty active on social media.
You did an awesome job at that. Both of you have, honestly.
So Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, I basically just was my own social media manager and just tried to create content to put out there to busy business owners, like, why do you need me? Mm-hmm. And gosh, I did it for a long time and I didn't get a lot of likes. I didn't get a lot of DMs or anything like that. But, you're new. And when somebody pulls up your page and you just have a few posts, they probably look at it as, oh, she's kind of new. But I think as time has went on and I've built this audience and I've built this trust with people, I have gotten so many more calls and messages about my services and things that I offer and that I can do within even the last month, really.
That makes me happy to hear. That's awesome, because I feel like we just talked about this last week in our coaching call, but we see all these success stories. Like someone might jump on this live right now and see ladies being like, I have this many clients, this is what I'm doing. I just started like a few months ago, whatever. And it is not an overnight thing. So a lot of people will give up really quickly if they don't find a client, overnight basically. And it takes a lot of work to lay the foundation, and you're not going to reap the reward at the very beginning. Posting all those things and putting effort into your content and seeing like not that much return for it. But, down the road, whenever that does its job, that content actually gets out there, then you're going to start seeing the reward, like you're saying. And I love that you said that. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, I actually just had a conversation with a lady this week, and she said, I've been following you for a while. And then I just didn't need one at the time. But I thought of you whenever I finally was ready. And so you've got those people, that they're seeing your name, they're seeing what you're
Right.
putting out there. And I think eventually when they need you, they're going to think of you because they've already kind of seen what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And kind of you've built this relationship unknowingly that way. So yeah, and this gentleman that I talked to today, I mean, he was the same way. He's like, I've seen your stuff. He saw on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn I don't post as often, but whatever I do post on there, I try to make it more of a solution to what the business owner's problem is. And so I don't know. I think that you just have to give it time. It's like selling insurance or any other type of thing. It takes time to develop that clientele. And then once you got it, once you're established, then I think from there, word of mouth just takes you where you need to go.
Yes.
So,
yeah. So on that note, like having word of mouth, and like Heather, you said that you got a client from a direct intro from us, and then, that was great. And then she was like, oh, my husband needs a VA. Like, so that happens all the time. So do you think that, how do you experience like a scarcity of clients? Like, do you feel like it's, hard to come by clients?
I don't. I mean, like April said, it takes a little bit, in the beginning, but once your name gets out there and you're doing all of this for different people, then I mean, people just start calling and they start texting and emailing. And so, I mean, I don't think that there's a scarcity out there at all for clients.
I'll say one thing too that I did, that I ended up doing a quick project for somebody, is there's a lot of networking events, especially like online. And I'm a part of this one called LinkedIn Local. Anybody can do it, but LinkedIn Local, they're all over the country, but there's one specifically in Indy that my first client invited me to. And once I was there, I met so many people, and they're like, eventually when I get there, everybody's kind of in the same boat. They're all looking for connections and relationships, and they're trying to build their businesses. And so, you're kind of gaining trust that way too. So I highly recommend jumping on these random Zoom networking events, because you're going to meet people and talk to them face to face. And that's always, I think, a quick trust builder, more than just putting out some text and a graphic on social media. You've got that personal connection that you've made.
Yeah. And most people that come to those, they're already there with the mindset, like, I'm here to network and make relationships. So you don't have to like turn their mindset there where you're like, let's have a conversation. And then also let's talk about how I could help you. They're already there with that idea. So I love that. So that's kind of where I was going to ask like the next question, like, where do you look for clients specifically? Heather, I know you said Facebook groups. What Facebook groups have you looked in? Are there any other networking events, April, that you've gone to or heard of that you would suggest other people check out? What do you guys think?
Heather, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. So I immediately went into Facebook and was like going on all these entrepreneur groups and, just engaging in conversations with people. Boss Moms is a really good one. I found several people there that I know they're now following me, and I know when they need me, they'll come to me. And I've got a client from there as well. So that's a really good one. LinkedIn is good. I mean, you can always go and apply for the positions that are posted there. I think that's a great option as well. There's just all kinds of different groups, Facebook groups that you can go to. There's Women Supporting Women, I think, is a really good one. There's so many.
Yeah, there really are. And I think that's one of the things we interviewed a woman that has hired a lot of VAs, and you guys might remember this. She joined a coaching call, and one of the things she said is like join all the groups, get in there, and then see which ones that you like resonate with, and I like feel like you can take part in the conversations, and then trim it down after that, and like really focus on a handful that you can have genuine conversation. Now, some people might be able to do that in like 10 groups. I personally get like super behind because the conversations are always going. So I have like a hand, like 3 that I'm like constantly in and like looking at and like waiting for conversations to jump into. But yeah, if you have like 20 groups, it's kind of hard, but there are so many out there to always
There are.
check out.
Yeah, and I did that. I actually I had joined all these different groups, and then there were just a select few in the end that I really liked, and I'm still in and still participating in. So that was a wise suggestion from her.
Yeah, it gets less overwhelming for sure when you do that.
Yeah.
Well, I was a part of a lot of the Facebook groups, even Heather was in, because I would wake up in the morning and I would see Heather's comments. I'm like, dang, she's already commented. Yeah. And like, you see other laptops and little alumni or whatever commenting in there, and you just want to go in there and like their comments. But
Yep, that's awesome.
yeah, so I've done some Facebook group stuff, but quite honestly, I think my niche was more of LinkedIn. I don't know why. That's where maybe just because that's where I got my first client. And so really, honestly, that's where I've gotten my other 2 besides, well, hopefully the other 2, my other one. And then of course I've Caitlin, I'm with Caitlin for the other one, but LinkedIn, I think what I like about it is you can kind of narrow down specific things that you want. Like, what am I trying to say? So, when I was going out and trying to find, okay, who would I like to be a VA for? Like what type of industry or whatever. That's what I liked about LinkedIn. There was no guessing really. So, I reached out to a lot of, like I like health and fitness, and I like food. And a lot of those categories are really affected by COVID right now. But there's a lot of online stuff happening. And so I reached out to a lot of those types of people, and I got a big response, I think. So I was encouraged along the way with that. So I just kept in with LinkedIn. So I think that's kind of where I mostly go. On a side note, because she brought up, the jobs on LinkedIn that are posted that you can apply for. If you can get discouraged, I was discouraged. At one point I was like, okay, I might have to get like a real job and then do this on the side. I was getting to that point, but I wasn't going to give up. I was just like, I got to supplement. And I'm glad that I didn't do that, because I wouldn't have had the energy or the focus or the time that I needed to put into it. And it eventually has worked out. I just needed to be patient. But I was that person. I applied. I couldn't even tell you how many I applied to. And then I also, the spreadsheet that you give us of all the different VA companies, I did a lot of those. I was a part of a couple of them. And, one of them was okay. I did a little bit of work here and there for them. But the pay was pretty low. I just knew in the end that I wanted my own. I wanted my own client, set my own rules and everything, So that was my goal, and I got there. So if you're discouraged or whatever, it's normal. I think you just have to take a deep breath and be patient. I think, we all have been there. I think I could say safely.
Yeah.
You just have to know that when you go into this, you've got to have some patience and perseverance, and just not give up, and like keep at it, and just know that you're getting recognized. People are seeing you. You just have to, it'll take the right person to come to you, and from there it'll just grow.
And I think, have you guys found that like your mindset is a big part of it, or is that like, are you guys roll your eyes every time Tiana and I talk about it? Good. I'm glad, because I think, and that's huge, because whenever you do get discouraged, if you just sit in that, you start doing that, you're like, well, I'm just going to find a normal job, because then I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to do, certain things and perform in a certain way to get my paycheck. Like, it'll come even if I have a bad week or whatever.
Mhm.
And I think that when we focus our energy on that, we start convincing ourselves that that is better. But it's like, is it though? Because why did you even get into this in the first
Right.
place? Like, why did you? Sorry, I'm getting handed our puppy. We just got a new puppy.
Oh,
Oh.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so, what was I saying? So yeah, I think just like having a good mindset and surrounding yourself with that positivity, and even stuff like that's why I wanted to have this live with you guys, because I wanted people to be encouraged and to have that positivity, and also, the recognition that, hey, like it can be hard and you will get discouraged. That's gonna happen. It's not overnight. But like hearing that from fellow VAs, I think that's really encouraging to know that it's gonna be okay. That there are clients out there. So what are there any tips for new VAs looking for clients that you would have that you would want to share before we jump off here?
Well, I would say, try to put a little bit of your personality into what you're putting out there, whether it's graphics or content or whatever. I'm a very down to earth person. I can be professional when I need to be, but for the most part, I'm just pretty chill. And so I try to put some of that language into words when I'm posting things on social media, and when I'm trying to offer up advice or whatever. So that, and getting in on those uh, LinkedIn locals or whatever, any kind of networking event, don't be afraid to just talk and put yourself out there and just show who you are. Like, don't just sit there in your little square and be quiet and not talk.
Right, you kind
Get
of
out there.
have to be aggressive.
Yeah, have a voice, and because everybody's going to remember a squeaky door, more than
Yep.
somebody that's over there quiet in the corner.
I love that. Yeah. And I think that's a huge value in the coaching that we try to provide is, when you come into it and you start off, especially as moms, like we naturally do this, it's hard to believe in yourself. And so then if you don't believe in yourself, it's hard to get out there and just like, hey, look at me, like, look what I can do for you. Cause inside you're like, I can't do anything, I have no skills, which is not true at all. And that's like a lie from the enemy. But that's why like we love being able to coach, because that's exactly what we're trying to change your mindset so that you can believe in yourself, stop doubting yourself, and, get out there and like be aggressive in your marketing and in your promoting yourself, all that good stuff. And this has been full of great tips. So I'm not saying like, do you have any tips? This has also been, great the whole time. But Heather, do you have anything else before we jump?
Yeah, so I think I too was super worried about having a niche at the beginning, and it wasn't important, and I think as time goes on and I learn how to do more and more and more, I will find that eventually. But you don't have to have one. I mean, in this, you just don't. And just putting yourself out there, I think that's really key. Also mindset, like you mentioned it as well. I don't think that I could have gone through it without all of those daily affirmations.
Good. Love that.
I really don't. And I still do them every single day, and I don't think I'll ever stop doing them, no matter what I'm doing as far as my career goes. But those are super important. And, it didn't happen for me overnight either. It took a little bit longer than I had wanted it to, but you just can't give up on it, so.
That's exactly how it was for you. Because I remember I get a lot of discouragement, but you were so positive. You would do exactly what we say, like, recognize how you're feeling, I'm discouraged. And then you immediately turn it around. You're like, but I know it's going to happen. I'm just waiting. And it's going to be the perfect client and all of that. So I love your story. Is like, April, yours was like that too. So that's perfect.
One other thing I would say is, there's a million other VAs out there that can probably do the same thing as you, maybe even better, who knows. But one thing that I feel like resonates with people when I talk to them, and I am just very honest, and I say that, I'm like, there's a million other VAs out there. You could hire any of them, but what you're getting with me or whoever is, my personality. I'm easy to, point out like all of those things about yourself when you do finally get that call. And they're, because sometimes you run through a gamut of questions when you're talking with someone, and it almost seems like an interview. And so I always feel like that really sets you apart from everybody else that maybe they're talking to, is, offer what you have outside of those skills. All those skills can be learned, but what can't be learned is how easy you are to work with, and how easy you are to communicate with, that type of thing. So
yeah, that's exactly right. I think, and it's also for you too, like to have that mindset when you're on the intro calls with these people, because it's like, you want to know that you're going to be comfortable talking with them too. We just did a direct intro for one of the ladies, Courtney, in our program. And whenever I got the call from the client telling me who, she was going to work with, she said, all of the candidates are top notch. She's like, I loved this process, and I'm so happy that, I got to talk to each of these women. Here are the two that like I landed on, and whatever, she said that the person that she decided to go with, she said she just felt like a connection with. And I was like, that's exactly how those relationships should be started, because yes, make sure that they are capable of doing the things that you're asking them to do. But if there are certain skills that they don't necessarily have, unless it's like, they have to go to school or something to learn them, like they can learn them. But if you have that connection where you can work easily together, that is like priceless. Like you cannot find that everywhere. So that's really important too. That's why we really encourage the intro calls, because that's where you can have that connection happen too. So we have a question. Ashley asked, how did you know who to approach? And if you guys have questions, as you're watching, definitely put them in. So sorry, I didn't say that from the beginning, but so how did you guys know who to approach when you're doing a reach out?
Well, go ahead.
Okay. I just was thinking about what I like to do, like what I like to read, what I like to do on the side. Like I'm kind of this closet foodie. Like I love food blogs, and I love cooking and stuff like that. And so I kind of started there. I was reaching out to food bloggers, anybody who's come out with, like, I even Googled, new companies to look out for whatever. And then I'd go to LinkedIn and look them up. And then you kind of go down the rabbit hole. You look, okay, who's the CEO, or is this a startup? And just kind of like look at titles of people's names and just reach out to them that way. So I kind of just started with my hobbies, like things that I know that I would enjoy working in. And then Googling businesses. And I kind of really, when I started looking, I was just doing local, like Indy, Louisville. I'm a part of this, on LinkedIn, there's it's almost like a Louisville Chamber of Commerce, but not really.
Okay.
So, like Chamber of Commerces in different cities, you can get on there and just see who's in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where I started, was just kind of local and just what I like to do myself.
Yeah. And I love that, because it kind of takes that first step towards, okay, it narrows down who am I going to have a connection with. And it's like your reach outs could be a little more personalized if you do really love that industry or area or whatever, because you can say like, I have experience in health and wellness or whatever, or I love working out or whatever, just to like throw that first connection out there, versus just like, I mean, you can reach out to absolutely everyone, but that just kind of helps you. It also makes it more fun, because you can do a lot of reach outs for a long time. And if you do get stale, people will see that on the other end too. So I really love that.
Yeah, for me, I think I spent more time just like having conversations in the Facebook groups. And so as I would talk with people, like somebody would ask a question, and I would just, I was able to answer their questions based on, whatever it was that they had a problem with. I was able to go back and look at their business and what they did and that kind of thing, and just see if it was something I was interested in. And then I could approach them or, send them a message or whatever. But yeah, I didn't really have anything that I specific at first that I really wanted to work with. So, but just having conversations with those people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like this is super helpful, and I am honestly excited to download it and put it into the course. Is that okay with you guys? I
Sure.
think it'll benefit a lot of people. So I am really grateful for your time. Thanks for taking, an hour out of your Sunday to share with us. And I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And I'm excited to see all the amazing things that you're going to continue to do. So thank you. And we'll see you guys, everybody. If you're watching and, it's already over, let us know that you watched the replay. And if you have questions for April or Heather, tag them below and ask them. And I'm sure that they would be happy to jump in and respond. So we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.